Hi, welcome to the episode of Look Ma No Hands. My name is Linda, and on this week's podcast, I'm probably going to be much shorter than usual. I'll be talking about what I've been crocheting, what I've been reading, what I've been watching, which is not much this week, and anything else that might come up. So, what I've been crocheting this week, I started working on a pattern called the Big Cable Cowl by Knit and Crochet Now. It's a pattern that I had in one of the binders that I've kind of organized my patterns into, and I'm not even sure exactly where I got the pattern, like when I got it, where I got it, but it's a pattern that I printed off the internet, and I was just looking for something quick and simple to work on. And when I first started reading into this particular pattern, it's pretty much done in all single crochet with a few rows done where there's like chain spaces. And I don't really care to do projects that are all single crochet for so many reasons. One, and this is the main reason, it takes forever to get the project to grow. Single crochet stitches being short stitches. I just feel like you do a lot of stitches and don't get a lot of product from those stitches. So that right there kind of is like eh. And then I have a hard time identifying where the last stitch is and where the first stitch is of each row. So then I end up with edges that are not straight. Even like using stitch markers and all that kind of stuff, like if the project is done completely in single crochet, is just not for me. I thought I would try to tackle this project just because it was a small project. It wasn't a big blanket or even a big scarf. It was just a small cowl. So I thought it seemed manageable. And I got maybe 30 rows in and decided this is just not the one for me. So I abandoned that one, did not finish it. And then I picked up the Sweet Stripes poncho. It's a pattern from the Bernat Company, and it just so happened that I had the exact yarn that the pattern called for, so I was very excited about that. And this one, I would say, is probably like what you would consider the moss stitch, because it's single crochet, chain one across the whole row, and then return pass is the same thing. So even though that project is done mostly in single crochet, it's a little bit less monotonous with that chain in between. So worked on that pattern, and the pattern is in toddler size, so that made it manageable as well. So I did the 2 panels necessary for that project and then put them together and made the cute little poncho. And I will pop in a picture so you can see I really like it. It turned out great. Being that the yarn is 2 colors, the striped pattern basically just does it on its own. There's no changing colors or anything like that. It just, as you stitch across the rows, the color changes and makes the little stripes. So I really liked that. And then since I enjoyed using the yarn and I have more than enough to make other things with it, when whatever I choose to make, I thought about making another easy stripy poncho from Crochet Kim. I have one already that's in like a multicolored, like rainbow stripe kind of deal, and I really like that little garment thing for myself. So I figured why not make another one using this cute like purple and pink striped yarn. So I did that, and it turned out really cute. I plan on gifting it to a friend, so yeah, I won't be wearing it because I don't think it's big enough for me. It's kind of on the smaller side, but it turned out very cute. I'll make sure and put a picture of that one too. And yeah, I'll link the patterns down below so that you can find them. And if you want to try, the the stripy poncho for the toddler was really cute. I really liked it. So yeah. um, and then what I've been reading this week, I finished 2 books. Both were very interesting, and both the 2 books are very different from one another. So the first one was People We Meet on Vacation by Emily Henry. It is a romantic comedy. The 2 main characters, Poppy and Alex, are young adults, college students who meet on campus and discover that they hail from the same hometown, and decide then to return home for the summer, kind of like carpooling together, their first summer home from college. And then they realize that they're great for, like, they get along really well, they're from the same hometown. They start doing summer vacations, traveling with one another through those young adult years, and all the misadventures they have on their vacations. Poppy likes to try and plan like fun things to happen, and things always go awry. On their last vacation together, something happens that causes them to have a falling out, and they spend 2 years not talking to each other. They just kind of like decide they don't want to be friends anymore. And Poppy is having a hard time not having Alex around. So she plans kind of like a last-ditch effort vacation that she invites him to go on, so that they can try and mend fences. And we do find out what it is that happened between them to cause their falling out. And it's one of those situations of like a just misconnection. Like they weren't communicating well with one another, and that's why things went south. So it was a very fun book to read, like just all of the crazy kookiness that happens for Poppy and Alex in their travels together. And then it is a book that you kind of have to pay attention while you're reading, because it's not a linear timeline. We go back and forth between the current vacation that they're on and then flash back to like past trips they've taken. So you do really have to like be on point when you're reading this book, especially if you're listening. You can't like, I don't know, you have to pay attention basically. It was interesting, it was good, lots of fun to read, but not one that you can kind of have your mind wandering while you're reading it. So yeah. And then the other book that I read was a mystery called Clark and Division by Naomi Hirahara. And this book is set in 1944 Chicago. It is about a Japanese-American family that was being relocated from a concentration camp from California to Chicago. And their oldest daughter was kind of sent ahead of the family to establish herself in the city and kind of prepare things for her parents and her younger sister. And just about the time the family is released from the concentration camp to be relocated, they come to find out that Rose, the older daughter, was killed by a train. Like, she was hit by the train. And the younger daughter, Aki, does not want to believe what the authorities say about her sister's death being a suicide. So she is looking into her sister's kind of final days, like what would lead up to this tragedy. And she finds out a lot of things about her sister that like she couldn't fathom being true. She in her heart knows who her sister is, so she just does not, the things that she's finding out don't jive with what she knows of her sister. So she keeps digging and finds out that there was a lot more than the police gave the family information of. And then she's trying very hard to find justice for her sister. Her sister was a person that was very passionate about, equal rights and things being fair. As you can imagine, for a Japanese family at that time, there were a lot of situations where things happened for them that were not good. So Rose is very passionate about justice. And then to have this tragedy befall her, her sister feels it's necessary to vindicate her sister's death. She knows that there's something just not jiving, and she works very hard. She creates lots of relationships with people in the city in her relocation, and she does manage to discover what she knew was true all along. So I really enjoyed this book, being that I've grown up in the Chicago area, and thinking about like that time period, and like my grandparents were young adults at that time. So it was just very interesting to think about the city in that time period, and it was interesting to kind of read about the Japanese American experience. It makes me want to go and kind of do more independent research about the topic. I know this book, from what I've read about it, was very heavily researched by the author. So I think it would be fun to go and kind of read about some parts of history of our nation, of the city, just for my own education. Like, I like to know about things like that. It just helps me feel more connected to the world. So I'll probably be doing some homework just to educate myself about that period of American history. And that's all I've been reading this week. So like I said, this is probably going to be a much shorter video than usual. What I've been watching is obviously my weekly watch of General Hospital. Things are coming to a head in the attempted assassination of Drew Kane. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out this week. It looks like it's going to be very dramatic already. Lots of gasping and yelling at the TV this week. So yeah, it's been a lot of fun there. I'm filming this video quite early in the week, so I don't have a lot to talk about in terms of what I've been watching. So a bunch of the things I usually watch, I don't have anything to comment on. We've been watching Who's the Boss on Hulu, and then we finished finally Storm of the Century, even though it's just a mini series and there were only 3 episodes for the series. It's taken us a minute to get back to that and finish it. Tim agrees that that was like a really like messed up story, but it was very Stephen King. Like, he says it's very on brand. So he was glad we got back to watching the last like 1.5, 2 episodes that we hadn't finished weeks ago. But yeah, that he said it wasn't really scary. It was just like very dark, and I agree. It was very dark. Just thinking about that whole concept, and yeah, we were talking about how like the themes and things like that, and like the style of Stephen King. Like, it would be interesting to take a literature class that discusses like more modern literature, and like how Stephen King is kind of like the modern genius of American literature, I guess. But yeah, I like reading all kinds of stuff here there, like the romance genre and Stephen King horror type stuff. So yeah, it's just fun. And then seeing like the film adaptations of some of his works, and thinking about like the creative process of taking something from like the print form into film or television. Like, that's probably a lot of things going there that I have even no understanding of, but it's interesting to see. Like I always say, when I'm reading or listening to a book, I get like the picture in my mind of like what's on the page or what's in the audio, and sometimes I feel like I'm immersed into the story just from my own imagination. So when I see it translated on screen, that's kind of fun. And then we've been watching Halloween Baking Championship. It's getting to a point now where like the competitors that are in there, I don't want to see anybody sent home. They're all really good. So yeah, but it's been fun watching that. I like seeing week after week the kind of artistic interpretations that the contestants bring to the table. So that's cool. And then continuing to watch The Summer I Turned Pretty, which there's some drama there. Like that's a lot. But again, can't wait to finish and can't wait until the film comes out next year. It's gonna be so much fun. I'm such a dork, I know. And then we started watching Hotel Costiera on Prime Video. It's starring Jesse Williams, who plays a very big role on Grey's Anatomy, which, you know, I'm a huge fan of Grey's Anatomy, and I love Jesse Williams. Like, he is, first of all, so handsome, and then he just has like this quality in the different roles that he plays, because his role on Hotel Costiera is so vastly different from his role on Grey's Anatomy. So I just like watching like what he does with his characters and things like that. And this particular program is kind of like action meets comedy, and yeah, it's just a lot of fun. There's like mystery involved in it, so it's just a fun show. And I like the setting of the Amalfi Coast, and like, I don't know, I've been reading lots of books and watching things that are kind of in that region of the world, and if I ever win the lottery, I would love to go and like do a whole like European thing and go to Italy and go to Greece and like go to France and all that kind of stuff. But I don't know that that'll ever happen, but if it ever does, that would be awesome. But yeah, the program is a lot of fun, and again, I say Jesse Williams is amazing. Like, he's just fun to watch. Like, he has great comedic timing, and he does really good in like the action scenes. So if you have access to Prime Video, highly recommend this program. Yeah, and like I said, this week, short week, I've got a lot going on outside of the studio, so I'm squeezing in the video for this week when I have a couple minutes here, and I will definitely give you guys updates as to what's been going on outside the studio. Lots of things going on, so you'll be excited to see the update when I have it for you. If this is your first time here, thanks for stopping by. If you are enjoying the video, go ahead and click the like button, leave a comment, tell me what you're watching or what you've been reading. And if you're a returning viewer, I appreciate you coming back every week. And yeah, just like I said, leave a comment, let me know that you're here. And if you think you know somebody who might also enjoy, send them my way. Let them know I'm here on YouTube, and stay tuned for next week when I have more updates for you. All right, take care.